congressional side. How much damage the cannons can do will depend mostly on what kind of ammunition they have. Do they have only solid shot, which would be like a 3-pound cannonball, or do they have some kind of anti-personnel shot, which would be smaller, a group of smaller projectiles that will spread apart and hit more people. So the British side, the people in red coats, remember, are the professional army. The ones in green coats are mostly loyalists. They're American colonists who did not think they should be fighting for independence.
Awesome.
We think about a third of the people living in the colonies actually were loyal to England throughout the war, and only a third were ever in active rebellion at any given time. You see the British forces marching up by divisions. You'll notice that they also usually fire by divisions. You don't want, with muzzle-loading weapons, you don't want everybody on your side to have an empty weapon all at once. So generally they will have a kind of a rolling fire where one division will fire and then they'll reload while other divisions fire, so that you've always got part of your force with a charge in the weapon. There's a drummer down on the field. The drummers and fifers were capable of giving commands across the battlefield, and the men had to memorize what the different keys meant in terms of a command to, whoa, oh my gosh, that was, the artillery got the beat on them very early in the battle. I mean, it obviously had some anti-personnel shot. Now you'll see the British line kind of rearranging itself. And you'll see they're moving to the center, the British infantry, so that they're directly across from the congressional infantry. Again, that's the way you, generally speaking, are going to take the most casualties, is by standing directly across from your enemy and shooting at the broadest part of that target.
So weird.
You see the smoke out on the field of what we're using is black powder. It's essentially the main ingredient in fireworks even today. Oh, nice smoke ring.
Cool.
From the cannon over on the British side. It produces a lot of acrid smoke, and if we had, if this was a battle with more cannons and, thousands of men, you can imagine how much of that black powder smoke would be out there on the battlefield. The men, by the way, are using a preformed paper cartridge, so the powder in there is pre-measured. It makes it quicker to load your weapon because you don't have to measure it. It's all already measured in a paper cartridge. You just need to tear off the top and pour it down. It's much faster than having to measure as you go. And you don't really want to fire these if you can help it without measuring your powder, because if you get, it makes a big difference in what you can do if you got too much or too little in there, because the ball's going to either not go anywhere or go farther than you want or blow up your weapon, none of which is very desirable. Congressional forces moving up now, pushing against the British. Looks like we have a potential duel going on the north side of the field between the Butler's Rangers, a group of the Loyalist troops who are known for their frontier fighting and often a long time with the Native Americans, against a group of Continental Dragoons who are light cavalry. They're fighting dismounted at the moment.
Ooh! Oh! Go, go, damn! Go, Connor! Get him! Get him! Oh! Oh!
Wow, there's what can I say? They were certainly motivated, and that's the end of the supposedly fierce.
That's going on YouTube.
The problem with doing a maneuver like that is that the Dragoons got way far away from the rest of their line, so they had to retreat back there, as you can see. Otherwise, they would probably end up being captured by the British up here if they moved too far forward. So when you're fighting in a time period where the weapons have a relatively short range, you've got to be really careful that you don't overextend some part of your line of battle into a position where they're too far away from support and to be captured by the enemy.
I love that one guy's death.
British backing off a little bit here.
Yeah, that's right. Retreat.
I don't know if they're reorganizing or if they're starting to look at the numbers and think there's fewer on their side, and they need to be careful not to take more casualties until they see just how determined the congressional forces are. The forces on the congressional side had very short movements versus the professional British soldiers on the other side. And so you never knew until the battle, was in progress whether you were fighting against new recruits who really didn't know anything and were not battle tested, or whether you were fighting against the people who had some experience and had been under fire before and were going to stand and fight. So it looks to me like this time around, the congressional troops are definitely battle hardened, and they don't look at all intimidated by the force against them, whether those redcoats are professional soldiers or not. Now we got the Continental Dragoons again coming up on the sidelines here, trying to, looks like they're trying to mount a flank attack to further distract the British. They don't have that many numbers out there anymore, and if they're attacked from the side, they're going to have to turn in kind of an L-shaped formation. Not too much action from the artillery. Now you can see the British side, that artillery piece is way out forward of the rest of the line. You can see some men on the same side of the field. Oh, it looks like they're out of ammunition or something, because it looks like most of the artillery crew has picked up their muskets on the British side, and they're out there guarding their gun. They don't, remember at the beginning of the American Revolution, there's no U.S. Army, and so most of the cannons they were using at the beginning of the war are ones they stole from the British. So the British particularly don't want to give the congressional forces the advantage of having even more cannons. So they are either out of ammunition or the gun's not functioning. So they are trained to act as infantry as well, and so they're out there in front of the gun with their muskets. Looks like the congressional forces are definitely doing the candidates objective, which is got their force massed on that same side of the field. Well, a couple of the crew trying to pull that artillery piece off. The barrel of that probably weighs about 600 pounds. So now they're all back. More of them are back there trying to get the piece off the field, but they took quite a few hits. And that last volley. Now, so some of the redcoats are all over there now trying to pull the cannon to a safe spot. Most of the casualties you'll see out in the field are not like outright dead during the battle because there aren't any explosive shots or any bullets or anything like that, which we have today. But they are wounded in some sense, and whether they survive will depend mostly on whether they can withstand the infection that's caused by a combination of the wound itself and the fact that the surgeon did not know that you needed to clean the instruments in between patients. They didn't even clean them, much less sterilize them, because they didn't understand. Now you'll see, I think that's the crew from one of the guns over on the congressional side, or part of it, that's run up there so that if they can capture the cannon, they'll be able to turn it and fire it against the British. The congressional cannons can't shoot anymore because they're too far behind their own troops, and they can't be really sure that they're not going to shoot their own people in the back. So I think they're out of commission for the moment. But the gun, the British gun, is still down at their end of the field in a vulnerable spot. Looks to me like the British need to make a decision. Either they need to call for a truce and ask for surrender terms, or they need to get off the field in a place where the congressional forces are no longer willing to chase them. Because what matters is who holds the field at the end of the battle, more than it does in determining who's the winner. And that's more important in that determination than the number of casualties.
Carla went up.
If you look carefully, you'll see that there are some. Nope, guess not. I thought we saw some. We were going to see some people checking the wounded down on the field and see if they could liberate anything that those people no longer seem to have a use for. But looks like they got the guys under control there, so that they were not doing any looting. But they are giving 3 cheers now, which is our indication that our battle demonstration has concluded this afternoon with a victory for the forces of the Continental Congress, soon to be United States.
America.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming out to see us, and it will take us a few minutes because we've got to get the dead and wounded up off the field and get them some water, etc. But we will be reforming shortly for a closing ceremony today, so we'll be lining up facing north, so we'll be facing the main parking lot, the first one, that when you come in the entrance gate, which is behind where I'm standing. And then we will be doing a trooping of the colors and a parade. So you'll get a little bit closer view of the different uniforms, etc., because they'll be marching around a little closer to us. But it will take a few minutes. We need to get the cannons into safe places and get the guys back together. It looks like